I first want to do is I want to get a sense of how they fit onto my paper, the composition. And I want to try to not censor it. And the first thing that I'm going to do is look for how tall all of my subject matter is and how wide all of my subject matter is. What I want to avoid doing is drawing it one part at a time. I am not going to think about any individual component. I am going to begin by thinking about and drawing the entire height and the entire width. Alright, so our gesture is going to start by looking at my highest point and trying to establish a sense of where my boundaries are. Highest point, lowest point, and I'm looking at what is the tallest thing that I am drawing. In this case, it's the top corner of the white box. Here, it's the bottom corner of the brown box. And I'm trying to give myself a little bit of space in case I need to make corrections, which of course I will need to do. This is the furthest edge to the left, and this is the furthest edge to the right. So I'm trying to fill the page. This I would call whole picture, whole page. In other words, I want my drawing to be as large as possible while giving myself a little bit of room for corrections. I want to fill the page. So once I get a sense of height to width, in other words, how tall it is versus how wide it is, then I'm going to start breaking things down into smaller components. I see this subject matter as being taller than wider, so that's why my paper is turned in this direction and why I'm drawing in a more vertical position. So once I establish those boundaries, then I'm going to start to break down the drawing. I'm just going to draw for a little bit. This represents the white box. This is the edge of that box. I'm not trying to draw anything in particular other than the most obvious references. So when I draw, my whole idea here is to look at very general, very simplified versions of that information, or versions of what I am looking at. And by versions, I mean the most obvious components that I can draw. So I don't want to start thinking about any complex elements like angles or such. I am just trying to establish where my drawing is going to be, where the subject matter is going to be in relationship to my space, and just to give myself a map that I can use to continue to build my drawings. I'm just looking at where corners, where edges, where elements are that can help me build my drawing. And I am making corrections as I go along. So I'm not trying to overthink this. I think that an important component of getting a gesture done is that you draw freely. Don't start thinking about what the drawing is going to look like at the end. Let's let the drawing build through a process and through a period of time, not to try to establish and determine anything in particular. I just want enough information right now that I can use to either make corrections or to verify that what I'm doing is correct. So you'll see me making a whole variety of lines here. I'm trying to keep my drawing energized. I'm trying to still create a variety of lines right from the very beginning. And I'm trying to just get a sense of where things are on my paper based on just how I see them. Right? There's going to be a lot of corrections made because as I look at my drawing with more detail, there are going to be things that I pick up on that I know are going to be out of place. They're wrong. It's inevitable. We all make mistakes. But what I don't want to do is spend a lot of time trying to figure this component out. I just want to do this very intuitively. It's going to help my eye and hand coordination. It's going to give me a better sense of determining proportions and how those proportions are drawn on my paper.